Who actually, before we start, I did something come to mind. Who wants to say the opening?
The opening?
Yeah.
We'll just have Shinigami do it.
All right, so Shinigami, just say welcome to the first episode with a guest, myself, Shinigami.
All right. So
Okay.
okay. So okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, welcome to the first episode with the first guest, me, Shinigami. You guys probably know me from that head kick. Welcome to the show.
Almighty Streetbeefs
we-
legend himself.
Yes, we should also mention our first episode, a pilot episode, whatever you would like to call it. We kept on referring to ourselves as PodHub, but we realized that's a really common name, so we changed it to Weird Anal. Okay, so we're sticking with Weird Anal.
Yeah, and the only reason why for that is because obviously there's no other channel that's called that.
That's true.
That's very true.
Yes.
But there's
I mean, at least you guys didn't go the Walrus movie route, because that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen or Tusk. It was Tusk. I don't know if you guys have seen Tusk,
Oh,
That was a
man.
weird ass movie.
but what they called their podcast,
I can't remember what it was
their
called.
podcast?
it was the Not See Party,
That's
I mean-
right. Yeah.
as in NOTSEE party,
Holy
not as in the
shit.
Nazi party.
Holy shit. I guess you could say they're pretty clever.
Yeah. I think ours
Yeah.
is pretty watered
Kevin
down.
Smith,
compared to
dude,
that.
I don't know how much pot he had to be smoking when he came up with that when he wrote the script for that movie, but
Something.
I think the only thing that I seen that Kevin Smith
Something.
actually not acted in, but was a big huge part of it was that comic book show that was on AMC.
oh, man.
Yeah.
You know what? One of the other things I'm really into is movies, and I've seen most of his movies.
I've seen the ones Silent Bob and Jay. I've seen those. I've seen
Chain
Clerks.
Silent Bob,
Yeah. I
Clerks.
saw the my
Yeah, I've
favorite one's the
seen,
one with Will
seen
Ferrell.
Actually, I think the only one I haven't seen is Mallrats. I've seen Chasing Amy. I've seen Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 1 and 2. You know, the Jay and Silent Bob rebooted. Yeah, man, Tusk.
Tusk I have not
Yeah.
seen. Catch my
Um,
little pun there. I did not see. Haha.
Hey, yeah, all right. Nice.
Nice, dude.
It's kind of like
That's
that
right.
weird ass movie,
That's
Teeth.
It's
Teeth.
weird. It's boring, dude. It takes forever for anything to happen, and then once something happens, it's kind of just a slow burn down from there, and it's just like the ending's weird. Too. Like they could have resolved many other ways, but they just didn't.
So
Yeah.
before we get sidetracked on movies and everything, I think we should start bringing
Yeah,
up the
for
first
sure.
topic that we wanted to talk about. So
I think-
Shinigami.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think
Shinigami.
a better.
Oh, go
I think,
Andy.
I think a more clear introduction would probably be better. So we have Shinigami from most notably Streetbeefs. If you haven't seen the magnificent head kick knockout, with that-
2.3 million views.
Oh my god, sick.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that is really picking up momentum. Last time I checked yesterday, it was a 2.1.
Wow.
I went to go show my pops it, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, 2.3 now. Would you look at that?
Yeah, and we are joined by. I guess we should introduce ourselves. We have Cameron.
Hello.
We have Richard.
Yo.
And then there's me, Andy. So yeah, you can ask questions, Cameron, whenever you have.
So-
one.
Shinigami. First topic that I personally want to bring up. So, where were you from? What was your early life being, and how did that kind of form you to the person you are today?
Very
I
serious
was
topic.
born in Antelope Valley Hospital in Lancaster, California. I grew up in Lake Los Angeles, California. I didn't really move per se, but there was a couple of years where I had to live with my grandparents and go to school down there. So I kind of used to get in trouble a lot as a kid. A lot of times it wasn't necessarily because I actually did anything, or sometimes it was just dumb stuff like I didn't like doing homework.
Hmm. Most people don't.
First time I had
I
exposed
don't blame you.
was dumb stuff that I did do, but it was dumb stuff. You know, I was 7. I didn't know I was going to get in trouble.
Hmm.
So most of my life was out here. I played a lot growing up. Hal always had a mouth on, so I think that contributed a lot to that. But I've always whatever comes to my head, I'll pop it out of my mouth. And you know, it took me forever to understand that friends talking smack to each other is one thing, and talking smack to people who aren't your friends is another thing. Which wasn't so much a big deal when I was in elementary school, but when middle school hit, you know, because I also did a couple of years of being home during that 5th through 7th grade period where everyone's kind of forming cliques, and you know, I went back to 8th grade with no social development whatsoever from that little period, and I think that caused me a lot of problems with the people who ended up bullying me in middle school. And then high school, because we all ended up going to the same high school that I was in freshman year before I got kicked out of there too, for threatening one of them. After they threatened me, which they didn't get in trouble, but who cares?
Yeah.
That was. In fact, before I even say anything about that, how long ago that was? Who do you guys think I am?
How what?
33.
Well, yeah, you knew that though. Somebody obviously knew that. If you didn't know that, too late now. Catch out of the bag. So that was almost 20 years ago that happened.
You actually seem younger than that, actually, to be honest with you.
Oldest would buy.
Yeah,
Especially
I keep
watching-
getting that.
Oldest, I'd
Especially
probably
watching
assume,
that
like,
head kick.
Yeah, no, you prime 20s right there with that shit.
prime 20s.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
a
we're still in my prime 20s. Let me tell you, my body looks like it can move like I'm in my 20s, but my body don't feel like it's in its 20s anymore. I'll tell you right now.
Age is just a number, bro. Age is just a number.
Oh no kidding. I mean, look, Randy Couture came in and started. You know, he went pro and came into the UFC at 34.
Yep.
You know, so
I
there's
know-
definitely a toll
I want to know.
for getting in the game. So I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I want to know.
But
the
yeah, my
Shinigami.
early life was
That's
was
right.
kind of rough. I mean, my dad died when I was very, very young, like an infant, like 11 days before my first birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My mom never dated or anything, so you know, I was raised by my mom, my aunt, and my grandma, mostly my aunt and my grandma. But excuse me, on my phone and do not disturb. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
It's all good.
No problem. No problem.
You know, I was actually really into reading from a very early age. My aunt got me into reading. My aunt and my grandma used to read to me all the time, but they would like act out stuff and do different voices. And I was actually known by age 3. You know, me and my aunt would ride bikes up to the library and get like a stack of books every week, and I'd read all of them.
Wow.
So that actually, by 4th grade, I was actually reading at a college level.
That is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my reading comprehension was pretty high. Still is. I haven't read a book in a couple of years, but that's because I was writing a book for a while and I finished it, but getting published is really hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. It's difficult.
Can you send us a copy? I want to read this. I want to read the inner thoughts of Shinigami. That sounds cool as shit.
It's not that kind of book. It's actually a vampire slayer novel.
Oh.
Very martial arts heavy vampire slayer novel.
Are you into like anime and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Favorite anime.
That actually kind of touches, it is actually part of the topic we're on here. I actually started watching anime before I even knew what anime was. And all the anime that I ever watched to begin was all like martial arts related in some way, even before I knew what anime was. When I was little, I didn't know cartoons came from different countries. I thought cartoons were all made in like Hollywood, like everything else I ever saw. So the first anime I ever saw that I didn't know was anime was Ronin Warriors, and I would watch that every morning before school. Every morning before school, I loved that show. When that was one of me and my friends would like pretend play when we were hanging out.
Act out.
Yeah, and of course I was always the fire dude, Riot, that dude, because I love katana swords. I love katana swords. I think that has a lot to do with it. That and like all the stuff that was on when I was a kid. All my favorite characters had like swords. Dragon Ball Z. Obviously that like I don't know too many people who do martial arts and grew up the same period I did that didn't watch Dragon Ball Z and don't rewatch Dragon Ball Z. The first anime that I ever knew.
Shinigami.
Yeah.
Check this out. Check this out.
Oh, that is sick, bro. You know what? You ain't even gonna believe it. Check this out.
Oh man.
No,
I
you got
literally have the wall scroll of that, bro.
Yo, let's go.
Yo.
I just got that done not too long ago.
Nice. First anime that I ever knew was an anime that I watched when I was like 9 or 10 came on the Sci-Fi Channel. They used to do these movie weeks during the summer. They were all themed movie weeks, and they did an anime week in 1998.
Wow.
And the first thing they showed was Fatal Fury, the motion picture.
Huh.
So, also an anime based on a fighting game series, and it blew my mind. It blew my whole mind. 2 years later, Toonami starts showing anime. A year later, like on the air or later that year, and then like 2 years later, they started actually showing anime. So then I started watching Dragon Ball Z again, Gundam Wing, G Gundam. You know where they're doing the martial arts tournament Gundams, which also blew my mind.
Yo.
Rurouni Kenshin, another sword anime. I mean,
Sick.
that's one of my top like 20 animes right there is Rurouni Kenshin. So that influenced me a lot growing up. And I always wanted to learn martial arts. When I was little, I was kind of stubborn. It's kind of ironic because when I could have started at the martial arts school that I ended up starting at, like seriously starting at. But I wanted to, so I was really stubborn. I wanted to learn ninjutsu. So I told my mom, no, I don't want to learn karate. I want to learn ninjutsu. Find me ninjutsu school. So that never happened. So I was actually, I know I'm kind of a big dude and tall and everything. I really until I was like a junior year in high school. So I was getting bullied all through like freshman year, sophomore year, all of that. And then I hit a growth spurt and people kind of just didn't even want to mess with me anymore at that point because I was just big. I mean, I still had I actually used to have a reputation of being a punk, you know, a camp. So that also contributed to the bullying.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just that, you know, I had a mouth and sometimes I would say stupid stuff and all that. But, you know, the same people would pick on me all the time. And I just kept doing it because they knew there was nothing I could do about it, really. So then I went to culinary school, moved out to Pasadena for a while. And then I moved into my uncle's in Hollywood because of some nonsense. At the apartment I was living in, which was kind of a sucky little studio apartment that I was paying more than I probably got for. It was like a little dorm style studio apartment though. So it was in this old building. It was built in like the 800s. Had to share a bathroom. There's only 2 bathrooms in the whole building unless you lived in the top 2 apartments, and one was the manager's apartment. I moved out of student housing because another thing that just made me like really need to learn martial arts. We had this roommate that moved in after 2 of the 2 roommates moved out, 2 roommates moved in. Because the way it worked was there was no dorms, so the school would contract out through this company that would rent apartments around the city for housing purposes for people going to schools that didn't have dorms in the area. There were a few trade schools and stuff in Pasadena, and this dude was like 18. He was a boxer, meathead boxer. You know, was always talking smack about every other martial art and everything and doing stuff like walking around with his shirt off on his hands around the apartment just to show off. Had a temper too. And, you know, it was still a while before I learned. I didn't actually start training really seriously until I was 20, but towards the end of culinary school, and I moved into my uncle's apartment in North Hollywood, or Hollywood, somewhere in Hollywood, East Hollywood. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Lexington, Vermont. There was a kung fu academy, Ija Kung Fu Academy, run by Shifu Errol White, and I would always walk by it and like look through the window for a little bit and then go home. And one day he like waved me in and was like, "You want to try this out?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Yeah, come back tomorrow at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever. I'll just bring something you can out in comfortably." And da da da. So I did, and I tried it out, and he was like, because usually he gives like free 3 or 4 free classes, and I told him, well, I'd love to actually stay and train, but I'm actually moving in 2 weeks because I was moving back.
Oh God.
I think Shinigami just disconnected.
Oh no.
Well, that happened.
So I really want to ask him if he wants to fight a YouTuber.
Yeah, it's getting interesting.
I don't even know what just happened. This was actually going very well.
It's just frozen on his face right now, and
No.
I'm so confused. I'm about to hit him back up on Instagram.
Kind of weird.
yeah, it's kind of just he's kind of just looking down and stuff.
Everything good? What happened?
His facial expression is kind of like, oh, there he is.
Oh, he's back. Oh,
yes.
I just hit him up.
There
That
you
was
go.
weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say what just happened. We were mid-conversation and it just went.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, $70 a month, couldn't hang that, and then I didn't even know about any of
Beautiful,
the
right back to
jiu-jitsu places out here or anything. Because they were all the jiu-jitsu places out here, even now, are kind of like off beaten path. They're all in like business centers that are like way. No one drive. You drive right past it without ever knowing what's in there. So I didn't know about any of the MMA gyms, and I moved back. Well, I didn't back to Lake LA, but I was visiting a friend, and I was about to move back to Lake LA, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I tried this place out." So then I moved in with him actually once the student loans kicked in because I couldn't afford $700 a month plus $850 a month for rent.
Oh God.
That was kind of a tall order for that's actually that's actually something I kind of found out and ended up trying to spent a decade suing the school and everything, or trying to find a lawsuit in on and everything, and I finally did. But they lied to us about how much we're going to get paid. I was expecting to be making a couple grand a month, $25 an hour to start because of the degree, and not how the culinary industry is at all. So I moved back to Lake LA into a friend's house around the corner from where I grew up. And he was like, "Yeah, man, you should go try this out, da da da." So I went, and I ended up falling in love with it like overnight. And
Wow.
I started training. And this is gonna segue right into one of the other topics you guys had on that list. So I fell in love with it, and I started training exercise and to learn how to defend myself because. Even in culinary school, I got in 2 fights with this one idiot who kept messing with me, and
yeah, fuck.
Was this one of the original
fight
bullies
either,
that
but-
were?
no, this was just some dude that was pranking me all the time, doing dumb stuff.
Or just some asshole.
And
Fuck that guy.
one day he flicked some bleach water in my eye during deep cleaning at the end of one of the classes.
Oh God.
Oh, I would have fucked him up.
And it was like, "Oops, that's an accident." I told him to meet me out back, and he went through the parking lot where all the chef instructors were, and then I caught him. Because the next weeks of class were at a different campus. There was 3 campuses. There was the North Campus, the main campus, and the South Campus. And the East Campus was on this street off Colorado Boulevard, and there was the entrance was in this alleyway. And there wasn't a lot of cross traffic or anything. So I finally got a hold of him out there. And then, I cracked him once, and he was talking some smack about, "You hit like a girl, I'm not going to fight you." And then he tried to sucker punch me a week later and still couldn't land a shot on me. But, things would have been a lot different if I'd have known some stuff then,
Yeah.
So that was
be
kind of like, man,
considered your first
I
fight?
really need to find a place. I really just learn how to defend myself because I'm getting too big and too old, getting chumped off by these idiots all the time.
Hmm.
So I went and started learning Kempo Shotokan karate out here in Lake LA, $20 a month. Believe it or not, it was actually probably one of the best curriculums I've ever seen anywhere for self-defense. And that's all I really wanted to do was work out and lose some weight and defend myself. And like saying they tried to talk me into competing. I was like, I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm ready to compete. And And then my best friend who started with me, there were three of us. And funny thing is, I'm the least athletic out of all three of us. Like, two were natural athletes. And, my Shion was like, look to your left, look to your right, one in X amount of people make it to black belt, which one of you is it going to be? I'm looking to my left and I'm looking to my right at these guys, and I'm like, well, it probably ain't going to be me. Well, one dude moved like a month later because his dad was leaving the house, the guy I was living with. And then the other one moved like a year and a half, 2 years later, which just kind of left me out of the three of us. And anyway, the one guy moved later, my best friend Chris, he went and did a tournament, and he's just freakily naturally good. He practiced a lot at home, but he just was like natural. My Shion put him in the black belt division, even though he was a white belt, and he took first place.
Jesus Christ.
So he comes home with this trophy and is talking about how he went and beat all these black belts. And I was like, yeah, and they want me to compete? Come on, I'm nowhere near that good. So I ended up trying to go to a tournament, and I signed up for one. And I guess there was a bigger tournament that Raymond Daniels was putting on.
Raymond Daniels, Bellator fighter.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys. Yeah. Yeah, he's actually I've met him a couple times. He's from Palmdale too. My Shion actually trained him, and still helps him train and works with him and stuff down in Orange County, Huntington Beach, something like that. So everyone went to that tournament, so there was nobody in my age bracket and color division.
Oh.
So I went and got up at 5 a.m, went to a tournament that I paid $45 to enter, and got this pretty cool looking trophy. It was a eagle sitting on an American flag, said karate, whatever. The name of the tournament on it and the base. I don't have it anymore. I actually gave it to my aunt because she's all about the, super patriotic American flag stuff. She's got American flag, everything. So I know this would be a nice little thing for her to appreciate, because I didn't earn it. I showed up, no one was there. I automatically got it.
Was that your first
then
trophy?
That was my first trophy. I went to another tournament a couple months later, and by luck of the draw, there was three of us in my division after I'd been promoted to purple belt. I ended up having to fight someone from my own school, and we were both like, come on, we could fight each other at home for free. Like, well, we're not going to redo it. You guys just got to go. So then I lost because he was there longer than me. So he was more experienced. So he beat me by like 2 points. It's usually 1st to 5.
Yeah, I used to do competition karate when I was younger, and I always hated the point system. It was really like whoever touched each other first or some shit like that. It was, and whoever made full
it didn't bother me when it didn't bother me when I started out, but as I started getting better and going, by the time I was like a blue belt, it was like I'm getting beaten by guys that I know I could knock the hell out.
It's always a flex.
And it's like I know I got the contact first, but because these judges weren't paying attention and these judges didn't see it or whatever, I'm not gonna win this match against somebody I know I could actually beat in the street right now.
Is this like a reason why you decided to do full contact fighting instead of points?
Yeah. I actually tried to do that I actually tried to start in my 20s, and I got an injury training for an amateur fight, like a local one, and that put me out for a while. And from the time I've been a teenager to now, I've been on this weight loss roller coaster. I'll go up, I'll go down. It's a little harder now that I'm out of my 20s. But like back then, what actually started was I was very censored growing up. It was very reaction, like all those animes and stuff I watched. I had to watch. My mom wasn't home when I watched those. She wouldn't let me watch violent mostly. I mean, it was weird too. I was allowed to watch Three Stooges, but the Looney Tunes were too violent. Seriously, I can't wrap my head around it.
Parents.
So I didn't know about the UFC until I was an adult, and I didn't understand what it was. I thought it was literally specifically Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu combined. I thought that was the sport, specifically those two martial arts. So I never really paid attention to it. And then one night I was watching Spike T, or I was just channel surfing, and I came across Ultimate UFC on Spike, and they were showing. I just happened to flip back to it. Because as I was passing through, I heard Lyoto Machida Shotokan. And since we do Shotokan kata in my dojo and my style instead of Kempo forms mostly, I flipped back. I was like, okay. I didn't know you could do other things than Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. So, it was the Machida versus Sokuju fight. And so, I was glued to it. Because Shotokan, and that's actually what got me into it. And I was following Machida's career forever, and I still do. He actually tweeted me back one time, and it was like the greatest day of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was
yeah,
it
I got a
that you
tweet
said?
back from Lyoto Machida. I tweeted him, and I was like, man, you were like my inspiration to go into MMA, and I want to be like you, but in the heavyweight division. And he was like, chase your dreams, don't stop having them, train hard, never give up, and you'll get there, man. And
looks like you took those words to heart.
I definitely did.
Like now you're
aside from some injuries and some economic situation, well, you know what, even with economic hardships, I was always training somewhere, even if it was in a friend's garage, you know what I mean, just to keep the rust off. So then there was this tournament in Vegas. There was a tournament. They added an MMA division because MMA was getting really popular in like 2008. Like it went. That was about when the UFC really went mainstream.
Yeah, with the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, it was like that was like a couple years after the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to try that because we learn all these cool takedowns in karate class, and you see them. Movies when there's tournaments, but in the real world you don't get to do that in tournaments. So I decided I'm gonna go try the MMA division so I can at least do some of these cool takedowns and just punch people when they're on the ground. And so I went and did one in 2010 in January because I ended up not having the money to go in 2009 like I wanted, and I got armbarred. I got armbarred.
Oh, that's no bueno.
Yeah. It was a learning experience, though. I mean, I had done like a few months of MMA class, and then that place closed. There were some MMA classes at this Sansu place in Lancaster, so I started there. A friend of mine told me about it, so I was learning some stuff, but I didn't learn how to defend an arm yet. So I went and I did that tournament, and I got on. And then I ended up going again like that same summer, fought the same guy again, did way better on the stand-up, and then he ended up doing this weird, he got me like in a weird like clinch, and then just spun me around and momentum to get me on the ground and just arm triangled me.
No.
Hop, if you ever see this, dude, I still want that rematch. I know you ended up not being able to compete for a while because of having a family and everything. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you got back to training. But one of these days, bro, we got to run it back, man.
Yeah.
We got to run it back. Now that I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu and everything, we got to run it back. I can beat you in the grappling area.
Do it right on Streetbeefs.
Most
fuck Streetbeefs. Actually, do it right on here, man.
Most dangerous blue belt in
Wherever, man. We can do it. We can do it at the IMAC tournament. We can do it in Streetbeefs. We can do it wherever. I'm down. I just want to run it back, man. I miss competing against you. Dude.
Send it live.
You were a good guy and a good competitor. Like a good tournament rival.
Fight. Yep. Here on Weird Anal.
Yeah.
Life awaiting.
So then, I started trying to get out there as much as I could, but traveling to Vegas is expensive. So I competed there like 3 times. Then they started doing them. A different promoter started doing some in Van Nuys, and I started going down there and doing those. And I've been doing those twice a year, every year, except for this year for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And I mean, I've got trophies galore. I've done katas, I've done everything. But my favorite thing to do was to go do that sport MMA division, because even though you're not allowed to knock people out, it was a lot easier to win at that if I got somebody down and submitted them or outstruck them than it was for point sparring, So I really fell in love with MMA, and I actually started learning jiu-jitsu and training at an MMA place in like 2012. And then they closed, and then I moved around with one of the coaches from there, and then Tap Out closed, and then they opened their own place, and I went there. And I got that injury training for an amateur fight, and I'd actually gotten down to 250 pounds. I mean, that was the lightest I'd been since I graduated high school. I weighed 252 pounds when I graduated high school, but that's because I had some money coming in when I turned 18, and responsibilities, and my high school served a lot of junk food that I could buy. So I went from like 235 pounds to 252 pounds. And then by the time I was done with culinary school, I was like 299 pounds.
Yeah, pretty good.
So, because I was buying pizzas, and Domino's used to come in and sell personal pan pizzas. And they sold. They still had soda vending machines, and they had a snack cart during recess, and they sold like Little Debbie peanut butter bars and like the Nutty Buddy bars, zebra cakes,
Nutty Buddies.
Yo.
So I was buying those and zebra cakes and eating them all day long, and I'd get pizzas at lunch, and I'd get like 3 or 4 of them sometimes, and have like 2 for myself and give a couple to my friends. And then culinary school, I was eating everything we made there, especially when I moved out of student housing, because I literally took my entire month's check to move out because I needed my deposit and my first month's rent. So I didn't really have money for food that month. Just enough to pay my phone bill and move in. And so I was in baking class at that time. Wow. So all we were doing was making bread, pies, and pretzels and stuff like that. So I was eating carbs nonstop, and then baking 2 started, and I still hadn't quite recovered enough to buy a good amount of groceries in January. So I was eating cakes, big old whole fancy cakes, because that's what I had to eat. So yeah, then like I said, I started martial arts, and I lost weight. I lost weight pretty quick. And then in like the summer of 2009, I was training like a lot at home too. I was doing we've got a 1 acre lot, and it's like a half an acre, a quarter, or 2/3 of an acre wide. So I was doing sprints, weights, all kinds of stuff. And I got down to 264 pounds that summer. And then I moved out and started dating Rachel, and she worked at a private practice as a medical assistant.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, where did you actually meet Rachel?
Oh,
the whole love story behind that.
Okay, Cupid.
That's right. My mother met my stepfather. Man, it works out. You can't sleep on those. Yeah, my mother met my stepfather.
Are they happy?
Honestly, I think aside from one girlfriend I've had, every other chick I've ever dated has either been like a long distance online relationship, or I met them online locally, from OK Cupid or something. Matter of fact, that was kind of
also support all your fighting and everything.
Yeah, she
going to Streetbeefs.
So in 2010, my karate dojo closed.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, and I went somewhere else, and then things didn't work out there. I went there for a year, and then so after I quit that, I was kind of just around the apartment when normally I would be training. I started putting weight back on, because I'd get out of class at like even before that. So I'd get out of class and get back to town, pick her up from work. It'd be like 9 o'clock. Instead of her waiting for me to cook anything, we'd go to like Carl's Jr. So I'd gotten way off my diet for a while. I ended up back at like 300 pounds. So about January of 2012, the first MMA place I went to, like the actual MMA gym I went to, was running this deal. It was like $1 for the first 2 months. So she told me to sign up there because she noticed I was kind of mopey and depressed and just not really myself, you know. So, you know, I mean, she knew I wanted to do full contact and everything anyway. So, yeah, I mean, she was actually at the last fight that I did, and you can actually hear her yelling, "Kill him!"
Yo,
that's
that's
awesome.
cool.
So, yeah, when you watch that
That's
Street Bender
great.
fight,
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, if you, especially when you can hear like the whole time, I guess, but the only time I really noticed myself watching it, when in the second round, when I get him with the hip toss and I'm doing some hammer fists on the ground, you can hear her real, yeah, kill him, baby.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's who that is.
That's goals right now. That's goals. Like, you know, not a lot of people, I would say, would actually.
I got her
into
MMA,
Oh, that's
watching
awesome.
MMA fights, and she's super into it. When we go to the sports bar, she's getting more into it than me and started standing up, yelling, you know, "Come up, kill him!" You know, it's like,
That's fucking great. Did you ever see the video of the dude? He's at an MMA fight, and just some random drunk dude, and he stands up and he yells, "Grab his dick and twist it."
yeah.
Grab his dick and twist it.
Give him the old
groin
dick
attacks,
twist.
groin attacks do some stuff, but you ain't gonna grab nobody's groin in an MMA fight that we all got to wear cups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
But,
gotta throw
awkward
everybody off.
post-fight
Like, wait a
interview.
minute.
But
But
yeah,
before we
man.
get
So
sidetracked, we were on the topic of food. So like before a fight, do you go on any sort of eating habits or any sort of dieting before?
So around about 2013, when I got down to like 280, and I was only training once a day still. My jiu-jitsu coach told me to start coming in twice a day. And I lost some more weight, but then I was kind of hitting a plateau, and he was like, "Well, what are you eating?" And I was like, you know, I really hadn't changed my diet much, but I was in my 20s, so my metabolism could kind of handle it and still lose weight. But so I kind of ended up on this diet that was basically modified keto before I even knew what keto was, and I'm kind of on that again. I just call it my training diet. So generally, like at the time, what I was doing was I'd make a fruit salad because I did take a nutrition class. I got an A in it, so I knew certain fruit. Like if you eat a mixture of fresh fruits that are all different fresh fruits, they all have different nutrients in them. So I'd make a fruit salad. It would last me a week, and I'd cut up bananas in it every morning. Have a protein shake with it, so I'd have some protein. With like high protein all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then for lunch, I would usually do like, and I, you know, either just chicken and sauteed vegetables. Like I'll get the bird's eye frozen, like flash frozen ones, because they're the closest thing to like fresh cooked vegetables you can get. And you know, it's great when you don't have a lot of time to cook from scratch all the time. So I would saute those up and have them with chicken, or I'd make a salad with chicken or sauteed shrimp. And for dinner, I'd have Greek yogurt and vegetables. Usually I still kind of do that. I eat a light breakfast. Obviously things are more expensive now. So instead of making a fruit salad, I'll pick one fruit for the week. Like I'll either get a bunch of cans of pineapple because those are thermogenic and help you burn fat. So like this morning I had a can of pineapple and some mixed nuts.
Well, you also got a fight coming up soon, right?
Yeah,
December 19th, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of stick to my training diet just in general. So, because it's a high protein, like minimal carb diet, like all my carbs come from fruits and vegetables pretty much, and like my workout supplement. And then, you know, like I said, light meals pretty much all day, but that's because I'm trying to lose weight and keep it off. And, you know, that combined with training a lot, pretty much the routine. You know, obviously you got to have your cheat meals. The only thing that really differentiates when I have a competition or a fight is I'll carb load the night before. Like I'll make some pasta, but I'll make sure there's a lot of protein in it too. Like I'll make, pasta with like a whole chicken breast and a half per portion in it. Or, I really don't use steak in my pasta because like I said, I went to culinary school. So if I make a steak, I eat the steak. That's what I had tonight. Actually, I had 2 steaks,
That's what's up.
2 steaks and some bacon wrapped asparagus.
Oh my! What do you do with your asparagus though? Do you grill it
Yeah.
with some olive oil?
No, just wrap it in bacon. I mean, if I sometimes I'll do that. If it's like if I can find the thick asparagus, I'll do that. I'll marinate them in olive oil with freshly chopped garlic and parsley and salt and pepper.
You definitely, yep, you know it. That's where the asparagus is probably at its prime, in my opinion.
For me, it's
the only way
also
I eat.
between that and
Oh, no,
bacon wrapped with some pepper on it.
asparagus.
I haven't tried with bacon though.
So, I mean, it's real simple, dude. All you do is literally take 2 or 3 pieces of asparagus, or it depends how thick. I got a bunch of the skinny boys today, so I was putting like 5 to 8. That's how scrawny they were.
Wow.
So I was putting like 5 to 8 pieces in per piece of bacon. Then you just slap them on the grill. The only thing you got to be careful of is since it's bacon and it's gonna drip grease, is you're gonna get some flare ups.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to try to keep the lid closed, otherwise you're gonna end up like overcooking it. Like right at the end, I got a massive flare up, which was nice. It crisped them up a little bit because they were thin boys, the ends burned. But yeah, man. So my diet is mostly just like I said, it's really high protein, low carbs. I try not to eat bread or anything. Obviously, you got to have cheat meals every once in a while.
Yeah, of course.
I try to avoid those when I'm training, but obviously Thanksgiving was a week ago, and then this week I had some carbs too. So I didn't exactly burn off the 7 pounds I gained over Thanksgiving weekend as fast as I wanted to. But I mean, I'm only like 3-4 pounds away. Hopefully by tomorrow,
You just gotta keep killing and grinding.
Yeah. Well, I definitely toned it up a bit for this fight because Jens Pulver watched my last fight on his Twitch stream because I was in there, and he'll do that with the Streetbeefs fighters. He's a big supporter of Streetbeefs.
Yep, I actually
And
watched
he'll
that
give us
one.
pointers. So he told me, 3 rounds of jump rope a day, run 3 miles a day. But I'm not. I've never been big on running. Sprints were one thing, but like long distance jogging, I've never really been into it. So I started running a mile every day this last week.
That's how you start.
And that's in between my morning MMA and jiu-jitsu class for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then my evening class. So I'm doing like 6 hours a day almost of training most days except for Tuesday and Thursday. Because I got to come home and do laundry. We don't have a dryer. We have a clothesline, and it's winter especially. So I got to come home kind of early. So what I've been doing on Tuesday and Thursdays, I get up, I go to Planet Fitness. I do like an hour, and then I come home.
I'm not a big fan of Planet Fitness. I've been there a couple times. I don't like their Smith machines.
I mean, you know what? It's great when you're on a budget.
Yeah.
And like for me, the reason I signed up there is because the last restaurant job I had, the kickboxing place I was trying, because I live like 30-40 minutes away from where all the gyms are.
This is the closest
especially the
and
ones
most
that are
convenient
open
as
right now.
well. Your Planet Fitness.
So I got a membership at Planet Fitness so that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I could just go straight from work, take a shower, gear up and go to kickboxing class.
Which is awesome.
And then I ended up just holding on to that because it's just worth having for the price, especially since I got the black card membership. So I get, the massage chairs and all that too.
Oh, so you could also bring me in too whenever I come out to California.
So yeah, I mean that's what I did today, man. I went to jiu-jitsu class this morning and did some MMA rounds. There was some confusion over the rounds at the last Streetbeefs. So I'm definitely training for 5 rounds.
Okay.
This time, and actually training longer rounds in class than what I'll actually be doing in Streetbeefs. So that's a big help. I mean, they're running me ragged. I don't know if you can actually see this. Probably not, but I actually have a little bit of a shiner from last night because I was sparring with a pro fighter every other round.
Wow.
Oh,
And he just happened to catch me with a good left. And during an exchange, and it popped me just right in the right spot, dude. He was like, "Nah, man, I ain't you that hard. It doesn't look like it's swelling up or anything." I'm like, "Nah, trust me. I know my pale, fair skin
It will show up.
face is gonna show a little tiny bit of a shiner tomorrow." And sure enough, I got a little tiny itty bitty. I mean, it's not like a huge
Black
thing.
and
It's like,
blue.
man. I mean, and it's cool though. You get rocked in class a couple of times, and it definitely wakes you up and prepares you. And I'm definitely hungry to do better. I was off the last fight. Physically, I felt off by the time I got in the cage.
With Street Bender, right?
Yeah, it was Street Bender. I've learned a few things. Obviously, I'm used to more point sparring type of tournaments and things like that. And the last time I went to Vegas and drove, I was in my 20s still, and it didn't affect me at all. This time, like nothing went right the day before. I was getting stressed out. Took them 2 hours to get me my rental car because they didn't have enough cars. Even though I had a reservation, because I had too many reservations. Apparently, the corporation for Enterprise will allow endless amounts of people to make reservations for a location. It's up to that location to fill the demand. However, they have to. So I didn't get to Vegas till like 9:00, and because a lot of things were going out of my control had happened, I tried to focus on keeping control of the one thing I did have control of, which was driving. That caused a lot of muscle fatigue the next day, and it didn't kick in until right before we fought. Like it started kicking into my shoulder. I didn't think that was going to be a big deal, and then about halfway through the first round, it hit my legs. And obviously, if you can't move your legs, you're not going to be that useful in a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I didn't like let it stop me from doing whatever I could to keep in the fight and keep the pressure on. But that was I looked like ass out there.
So you still killed it, though. In my opinion, even with the fatigue in your shoulder, I still think you won. You controlled most of the fight.
Yeah,
You literally had dominance over the most of the fight. I don't understand how they called it a draw.
I think it was because of the confusion of the rounds. I was expecting longer rounds, and then I thought we were only just going to do 3 rounds and at the normal time span, and then I guess it's supposed to be 5 rounds. So I think that's the real reason they call it a draw, was because we stopped at 3.
Oh.
So I was actually wondering. So it's probably a question which we actually didn't write down, but I was going to ask. So which YouTuber would you like to fight and why?
That's not Charlie Zelenoff.
I wouldn't even, honestly, I wouldn't call Charlie Zelenoff a YouTuber per se either, just because he uploads crap to YouTube. He's not really a YouTuber.
It's not even, he ain't shit.
Not a good one, at least.
What YouTuber would I fight? The Paul brothers for sure, but they'd have to do an MMA match because I've always said this. I'm not a boxer. I don't like training boxing, but I do it because I need it for MMA. I definitely will never ever fight in a boxing match because I will get annihilated because I have to stop myself from kicking, which is obviously one of my main weapons in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see Logan Paul get head kicked, dude.
Dude, that'd be fucking awesome, actually.
Definitely the Paul brothers. I really can't think of too many other YouTubers, though. I mean,
Paul brothers.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you ask anybody
We'll
that
just get
question, I'm pretty sure
Tombstone
that
in
they
there.
would say Paul Brothers. Everyone would probably say
there's a
Paul
couple
Brothers.
of like cringy SJW dudes on YouTube that I definitely like to kick the crowd up because they're just
Easy double
but I
leg.
can't think of their names off the top of my head. I haven't actually even paid attention to them in a couple of years, but that's the only other thing I could answer for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it comes into your head, man, Richard's been actually, he thought about the question on the way home like a couple hours ago when I was driving my car. And he's like, wait, we should ask him what YouTuber he should fight. And that was actually a genuine good question.
That's a good question.
That threw me off. I was like, hold up, that is a good question. How come I didn't think of that for any of us before we were making the list?
You know what? Actually, and even though he's got a more of respect for karate now, I see Mike. I don't know if I'd say I want to fight him, but I definitely like to have a sparring match with him at some point.
Fair.
You know, just because some of his older things and his opinions on karate, which he's changed a bit, you know, because he's had like Sensei Seth has gone over to his gym and sparred with them, and you know he's actually talked to Jesse Enkamp after he made that video, kind of making fun of him. You know, but there's really not a lot of YouTubers that I would want to fight. Because most of the YouTubers I actually watch aren't like that kind of thing, believe it or not. I watched a lot of no. I watched a lot of I watched Brendan Taylor.
Okay.
Kind of got into Sniper Wolf recently, but I mostly watched stuff like Chills and Slap Tam. Brendan Tenold's cult movie reviews, Anime Abandon, Binging with Babish, How to Drink.
There you go.
You know,
You don't watch no Corpse or no PewDiePie.
Nah, man. That, you know what?
That's not for you.
I grew up playing video games.
Don't want to watch no motherfucker play it.
Watching my aunt play video games was cool when I was young and I sucked at them. But as an adult who plays games still, I don't see the appeal in watching somebody else play a game.
No, fair.
I mean, that's just me. And no disrespect to the people who do that. But I can't. I don't like Game Grumps. I mean, Game Grumps was funny when JonTron was part of it, but I can't stand Game Grumps anymore.
Yeah, it's weird.
I watch PewDiePie more or less for his his Jubilee reactions and stuff like that. I don't watch his Among Us or anything like that gameplay.
And then I don't know if you obviously from the posters behind me and all that stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen my second YouTube channel. Kind of a goth kid when I'm not doing martial arts and stuff. So, you know, I watch a lot like Black Friday. You know, she's great. There's not a whole lot of really goth YouTubers. I really only know of like two off the top of my head, and I just barely started watching Voltaire. But you know, yeah, I mean, my YouTube experience bounces between that stuff, and then I'll watch obviously Jesse Enkamp and the Enter the Dojo show. Everybody's got it. Like, if you ain't watching the Enter the Dojo show, especially as a martial artist, what are you doing with your life?
Enter the Dojo.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, you need to look it up, dude. It's
I would definitely actually.
Master Ken is a character who is I think he's a 15th degree black belt in a fictional art called Ameridote.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious, dude. He does some he makes fun of martial arts as a whole. Like, nobody is safe, but the way he does it is
it's funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's not as disrespectful as you would think by looking at the video titles. Like, Kempo is bullshit. Muay Thai is bullshit. Jiu-Jitsu is bullshit. MMA is bullshit.
Oh,
that was how his channel started, you know, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. You know, and it's funny too because he makes fun of things that are either actually kind of true or just the way somebody who's not in those arts would perceive it if they saw certain things. But I mean, it's great. I mean, he's had some pretty big. He's been Michelle Waterston's been on there a couple of times. Sensei Seth has been on there. A few people. I would love to be on there. I would die. There's two things. I would pretty much die on the spot of excitement if I got offered to be on there. One of them is the Enter the Dojo show. The other one, and this is only because so many people were commenting it on my first couple of fights, Cobra Kai. If they called me up
Wow.
and we're like, "Hey, man, you're blowing up on the internet. You wanna be in one of the seasons of Cobra Kai?" I would squeal like a little girl, drop the phone, pinch myself, pick it up, and be like, duh, yes."
Yes. In a heartbeat.
It's faster than a heartbeat.
Yeah,
In
right
a
on.
hummingbird heartbeat.
That's right.
Like, man.
So, what is next for Shinigami? What's your big next move? What are you gonna try to do in your future? What are your goals?
Long-term goals is I want to open my own gym and teach full time. Immediate term, keep doing Streetbeefs. Especially since they Face just announced this year, like at the end of the summer, that if you get 8 wins, you're eligible for them to sponsor your pro career if they feel like you're skilled enough and serious enough to actually make it as a pro. Like they'll, that could mean several things, but the main one is like, covering your licensing and blood test fees and all that.
Wow.
Gnarly.
So I'm trying to get them 8 wins. I'm hoping I can keep that 0 on my loss record.
I have full confidence that you will.
I mean,
I will
obviously
put money on
some issues kind of prevented my other goal. My main goal in Streetbeefs was actually to win all my fights in the first round. That obviously ain't happening. I mean, I can still try to win the rest in the first round, but that obviously I went the distance the last one. But like I said, that was obviously because my timing was off. I couldn't move the way I normally do, and that's all on me. No excuses, just factors.
factors that you learn from and work on.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's a learning experience, and it's definitely a huge transition going from getting used to doing point sparring tournaments for over a decade, and even like the sport controlled sport MMA divisions at these karate tournaments that have them, and going and doing full contact. And the first Streetbeefs was only like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from my house, so I didn't have to drive that far. I felt fine.
You also signed up that morning, right?
Yeah, basically I got in that morning.
Which is fucking great.
Right?
When you signed up, did you ever think to yourself, I'm going to become a YouTube hit?
No. I mean, it just ended up being the perfect storm. I picked the gi for 2 reasons. Like, one, I knew I was going to wear a gi no matter what. Simply because of the same reason Hoist did it in the early UFCs, which was,
oh wow,
if people have Vaseline or whatever, it's a good grip. It gives you some friction, so you can control the clench better and everything. And then the other reason was I knew if I wore my black and red gi, I would stand out a bit.
And that you fucking did.
But I didn't think I was going to get any real attention until I did like 3 or 4 fights. And then I just happened to fight an opponent that, while trained, hadn't had any striking training really.
Oh.
So after I went for that first leg kick and they got out of the range a little bit, but they tried to block with their hands. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that was a fluke because he's nervous, or if it's just, his striking level ain't there. So I faked low and went high, and it was over. I didn't expect it to be over. In fact, I was actually surprised the ref didn't call it sooner, but after watching the video and somebody pointing it out, even the ref was like, oh. That's my boy, the Canadian, who was the ref in 2 of my fights, by the way, including the detail fight. But yeah, nobody expected that, apparently. Everybody would try to judge the book by its cover, and yeah, I'm overweight and everything. But, everybody who's overweight and can fight was in shape at one point during their training and learned how to fight. So that's kind of what it was. It was just like a perfect storm of everything. My skill level, his training wasn't the same. In fact, if you actually pay attention, when I throw the low kick, the second time, the fake low kick, he doesn't just go to block it. He actually was reaching down to grab it and try to single leg me. Because Detail is trained in grappling. Like, that's his thing. Like, I don't remember what exactly, if he said it was jiu-jitsu or catch wrestling or what. But just that his training was like entirely grappling based.
Turn that man's head into mashed potatoes.
So I mean, and that was the first time I've ever actually nailed somebody full force with that kick.
Oh god.
I've done that kick a million times in point sparring. That's one of the reasons I got it there. Um,
Oh, I bet that
and
felt great.
knew how to set it up. And people sleep on point sparring. I mean, yeah, point sparring isn't the same as full contact, but people sleep on it as a training tool. It is all about speed and precision and getting there
Yes.
first. So if you get good at point sparring, if you get decently proficient at point sparring, you're going to have a major advantage on guys who just do regular, kickboxing training. Because you end up seeing those openings and learning how to do fakes and setups and stuff that most guys ain't going to have because they're just going to be trying to hit you, So,
Do you still talk to Detail? That's his
yeah,
name?
you actually
Like,
talked to
is
him
he
today.
actually a good buddy of yours now?
I don't know about say we're good buddies, but since I wanted to put a completely uncensored of his face screenshot on a t-shirt, I
That's the most
had to
honest
hit
thing
him
you
up to
can
get
fucking
permission to use
do.
his likeness and kind of cut him in. So
There's-
we've been talking. That's kind of the extent of our conversation. But no, I did.
In which I am grabbing
Dude,
a
I'm
tank
buying
top
that.
for working out. Yeah, I'm grabbing a tank top for working out. I need a new workout shirt.
What was that
So I
conversation
got there's
like?
that one. There's
Yes.
there's the one that's censored with the black bars on everybody's face. Then there's the one that has no black bar on his face. And then that one's got my logo on the back too, my official logo. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but
So wait, what was that conversation like? Hey, can I
Yeah.
just put me knocking you the fuck out on a t-shirt?
well, you know what it really was? I actually tried to avoid putting that on a shirt. But everybody was like, yeah, you know what? If I'm gonna buy one of your shirts, I want a shirt with that kick on it.
Fuck yeah. I want one with that fucking kick on it.
So I had to hit him up and ask him permission and everything because
Yeah.
it's the right thing to do.
100%.
And even though I don't know if you ever would have seen it, he doesn't seem to be that active online. He seems to only really be on the weekends, so I don't know what it is, but
And he don't fight no more either.
well,
That's
no,
good
he
beef.
wants to come back. He's just been busy with like work and stuff, I guess, or something.
That's
He
fair.
just said life got in the way. But he does want to come back.
He has
So
to. I kind of want to talk to him.
I want to
myself.
see him come back.
Yeah.
Him and Storm Rider, dude. I want to see him come back and get some wins. I want to see him do something because they're
Storm Rider
trained
was taking
fighters. They
those
have some
elbows
skills.
like a
That
king,
just,
though.
they have some skills. They just happened to that day. Streetbeefs West Coast won. I just happened to be the most skilled opponent in the ring that day. Just luck of the draw. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to. I mean, it speaks for itself, obviously. But yeah, no, I mean, he seems to be a pretty cool guy, though. I mean, he told me he was a little upset about it because he lost and everything. But even at that day, we talked afterwards and it was cool. No animosity. A lot of people don't understand what Street Beefs really is, and most of the fights that aren't beef fights, it's not personal. I've talked to Streetbender a lot since the fight too. Storm Rider is friends with me on Facebook. We talk a lot. It's a brotherhood. It's a community. Sometimes people have disputes within the community and talk smack, and obviously they come to the yard and they squash those beef fights too. It's just everything the Street Beefs is about. I totally support. Guns down, gloves up, all of that. Because I mean, why? People get shot. I mean, out here, people get shot over dumb stuff. People get shot by stray bullets over dumb stuff that other people are disputing over, and it's why. Why throw your life away or accidentally kill somebody else because you're, feuding with somebody over something stupid, right? Scarface really did something, important when he created Street Beefs.
Have you spoken to Scarface?
A couple times. As a matter of fact, I need to hit him up again because I know he said something about wanting to do like an interview, but I'd have to like film my own answers. I don't know if he's going to send me questions or anything. Plus, there after my next fight, I got to call, get a hold of him because he wants me to go to the main yard and he's gonna fly me out there.
Wow.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
VIP treatment.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations, dude.
So yeah, eventually I'm gonna be in the main yard in a few months. So
where's that?
Yeah. I think you said January, February. I think it depends on what happens with the rematch with Streetbender if he can make it to the next one.
Oh,
He's
yes,
trying to.
that's what you're fighting next. And
Yeah, immediate
December?
rematch. Immediate rematch.
That's awesome. So you already know. You already know kind of. You already felt them out the first time. Now you're ready for the dub the second time.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Oh man, I got faith in you. If there was a betting thing for this, I put money on you all day.
Yeah, too bad there's not. That wouldn't be legal either. So
Yeah, I know.
got to keep Streetbeefs legal.
Mhm.
So, and then after that, I might be going to the main yard and fighting Big Smile.
Big
Little
smile.
champ versus champ belt unification kind of match.
Wow.
I believe is what they wanted me to do.
Huh.
That'll be interesting because I haven't really shown my jiu-jitsu skills that much. I mean, I've shown ground control skills from jiu-jitsu, but I haven't submitted anybody yet. People haven't seen my submission game yet. So that might be coming soon, especially if I have to fight Big Smile because he loves to go to the ground.
So what are your predictions with Streetbender? What do you?
I don't
what do
want
you
to say
think's gonna
anything because
happen?
I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, all right,
man.
man. It's full sending,
Gotta
man.
gotta
I got
keep
faith.
gotta keep it under my hat, dude. Gotta keep it under my hat.
Keep the game plan alive, man.
Yup. Got to keep that game plan top secret and
Yup.
show it when it's time.
I like it.
No, that's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart. Trying to get some inside scoop on the podcast.
You know what? I'm gonna just tell you this. My Shion told me never give it away. So when I do karate tournaments, I don't shadow box or do anything where anybody can see me. I don't even practice katas where anybody can see me to warm up. So aside from like regular calisthenics, I'll go outside the venue to the back or whatever and do whatever else I want to do to warm up, stretch, kick, shadow box, whatever, because I don't need anybody seeing what I'm going to do until I'm in the ring doing it.
Fair. No, that's smart.
Matter of fact, I actually, because of Streetbender, I actually had to go back on my YouTube channel and unlist over a decade's worth of videos. Because he told me that he
Really?
watched all of the
Oh
videos
my
on my channel of my matches from all my old tournaments. And you know what? That's a lot of fight footage for people to strategize from.
And there's still some up
So-
there.
Yeah, I left. Basically, what I went and did was anything from blue belt up that was fighting, I unlisted it. Anything from purple belt downward that's just karate point sparring, no grappling, whatever, I left that up there. Katas I left up there. I left some self-defense division videos up there. But
Wow.
other than that, yeah, I had to hide that stuff.
That's pretty
Um,
crazy. Just someone messaging you like, yeah, all of the stuff you have on your YouTube channel, I watched and I know you.
I studied your movements
Yeah,
so I can have an
I mean,
advantage
or
in
you
this
know
fight.
what? That's what the pros do too. They
Yep.
study the film footage of their opponents' fights and everything, and it's smart. I mean, that's actually part of what I've been doing with my coaches and stuff. Right now is we've gone over the we watched it and rewatched it and rewatched it and looked at this and that and the other thing and strategized for this, that, the other thing and fixed some holes that we saw, even though they're not generally holes because normally I don't fight like that. Usually I'm obviously a lot more mobile and a lot tighter. So yeah, I just decided it was a good idea for a while to take all of that fight footage away so people can study, especially the sport MMA matches, because those I won almost all of those by submission.
Wow.
And I didn't want to give my submissions away.
Yeah, especially
no,
Big
full-
Smile.
Yeah. So, you want to end up fighting in pros, right?
Yeah, I want to
That's
pro
the
fight
over-
for a
that's
while.
the main
I'd
goal.
love to pro fight, make some money off my skills, and get more recognition. That way, when I do open a school, it's like, then people really know,
So this
that
question
who
is
I
a
am.
two-parter. All right.
Yeah.
Have you ever fought a pro and have you ever fought a fan? And if
Have
not,
I ever fought
can we
against
run
a
this
pro?
setup?
I don't think so. Hold on, I'm having some mic stand difficulties.
No problem.
Yeah, it's all good.
If not, we have Richard here learning the Dempsey rule.
There you go.
To be honest with
Um,
you, the only person here that would be able to even fight Shinigami is Andy, and that's it.
so
Yeah.
no, I haven't fought a fan yet. Well, I'm actually, I guess technically, because Streetbender was a fan. Streetbender was a fan. You know, as a matter of fact, he was over the moon when he found out he was going to fight me, because I was supposed to
that's
fight somebody
great.
else, and they had to pull out of the fight. So, he messaged me like immediately and was like, "Yeah, man, I'm the guy you're going to fight now, and man, like, you know." Yeah, I can't believe it. I'm a huge fan. You're the guy who inspired me to get off the couch and do this in the first place. So to fight you is huge. Da, 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 da. It's like, all right,
Hmm.
cool. As for fighting pros, I mean, I've sparred with pros. Um, never actually fought a pro, but I mean, had some pretty rough sparring sessions in class with some pros. Obviously, I got that, like I said earlier, you know, I got
Little
a nice left from a pro fighter. Um, those guys are a different breed, man. Different breed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, that's awesome though that you're able to go ahead and spar with legitimate, you know, who literally do absolutely nothing from like the age of fucking infant of just breeding and fighting, and then now you're also fighting people. You fought a dude that is a huge fan and you inspired.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that feels, but I bet that feels fucking awesome.
It's definitely interesting. And like I said, I don't know if you saw my second Heart in the Fight interview where we actually recapped that fight. But one thing I've always noticed a lot, you know, when guys in like the UFC and stuff end up fighting somebody that inspired them to go pro or to fight in the first place, there's always this little bit of hero worship in the first 1 or 2 rounds.
Hmm.
You know, where they kind of are hesitant and this and that. And he didn't do that. And I'm glad he didn't, because it pisses me off when people do that.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, there are guys in the UFC other than Lyoto Machida I look up to and get inspired by. But if they threw me in the cage with them in the UFC, it's go time. We're here to
Yeah.
fight. Cool.
Yes, sir.
I'll get your autograph afterwards. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, sir.
I've seen what you can do. I know what I can do. We're gonna do this. You know, like, and that gave me a lot of respect for Streetbender, because even though I'm not some big name guy or anything, you know, there's a lot of people who are really fans and who are really like, man, I wouldn't want to fight that guy. And it's like, you know what? You don't fight a belt. You don't fight a name. You fight a guy. You fight a human being, and human beings are fallible. Everybody's fallible. You know, it's just a matter of
100%,
whether or not you can
100%.
spot a mistake and capitalize on it.
Speaking of being fallible, I'd like to ask a question. So in the Heart in the Fight interview that you gave, you said something really I think it went over most people's heads, but it kind of it gave me some post nut clarity here. So I'll repeat it here. So I kind of summarized it a little, but so you said be a better you than you were. So this is on your philosophy. Be a better you than you were the day before or the last competition. It's not always victory against your opponents, but victory over yourself by testing and improving your skills. Like where did you learn to develop this mindset? I'm really curious.
Ooh.
That a lot of that came from my Shihan. I mean, the dude is wise, man, and he's wise and he's funny and he's just full of philosophies. And I'm sure a lot of them he got from his instructors coming up through the arts. But I mean, it really is true. If you're training to beat other people, you have the wrong mindset, because especially if you're actually going to a school where the main focus is self-defense and street like combatives, and your goal is to beat up other people, that's not you're first of all, you're not ever going to get past a certain rank, and number two, that's just you're never going to reach your potential. Because what it really comes down to is you can fight a whole bunch of different people, and there's a whole bunch of different people that are skilled out there, and there's always a bigger fish. There's always a guy more skilled than you. There's always a guy that's going to be so much more skilled that it doesn't matter what you've done, he's going to have your number. Whether they've seen you fight or not, you're just going to eventually you're going to come up against somebody who you can't handle. They just have that much more experience. So if that's your focus, you're eventually going to be extremely disappointed in yourself when your ego gets crushed because you finally come across that guy that annihilates you. The main goal of any martial art should always be self-improvement, which is why it's really important to be the better you, no matter what it is, whatever your goal is, even if it's just skill-wise, than you were yesterday. Practice more, practice until you have it, and then practice more. That way, I may have learned this kata yesterday. The next day I have that much more of it learned until I get the whole thing learned. Just practice it every day until you reach that goal of being able to do the whole thing forward and backward. That's what it comes down to, because, it is what it is. You just gotta focus on being better than you were yesterday at whatever it is you were doing. And that's not just in martial arts either. That applies to anything else. If you're doing this, just when I said I worked in the culinary industry for a long time, even after I really wanted to be out of it. And you clock in and you just got to be on that jam, and you got to try to do, like, my whole thing was, okay, I did this fast, this much, this whatever. All right, I don't care how much slammed we get, I got to do better. I got to get this stuff out, make it look better, every time. So, I mean, that's just a good way to live, and you'll see improvements. I mean, even right now, just starting to run a mile. It's not just that I started running a mile. Every day I increased the pace of that mile, even just a little bit. I started at 4.5 miles per hour, and I increased it gradually. Now I'm at like 5 miles an hour. I don't know what the limit is on those treadmills at Planet Fitness yet, but I'm gonna find out.
I don't know either.
We'll find out.
That's right.
Oh yeah, we'll find out.
So I was wondering, what kind of video games do you play?
Like growing up and now.
First video game I ever played was Super Mario Brothers on my uncle's NES.
Oh.
First console I ever owned myself was a Sega Genesis, so Sonic the Hedgehog was my jam as a kid. I mean, I play pretty. I mean, things are kind of weird now. Everybody's kind of gets into this niche of playing like one game online with their friends like every night. Versus like growing up when there was no online gameplay and it was couch co-op or whatever, or just single player game. I mean, I still try to play a variety of stuff. I don't always, even if I'm talking to my friends, I don't play with them all the time. So I play a pretty good variety. Growing up with Sonic the Hedgehog, Sagaya, all kinds of arcade games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, just a ton of stuff. Side-scrolling, Contra, platformers, side-scrolling shooters, Tetris, puzzle games, Bubble Bobble, Arkanoid, all that stuff. Just all Road Rash. Road Rash was my favorite.
Oh my god!
Yo!
That's my first video game, dude.
Yo!
Road Rash. I love just hitting people off. Just
dude, grab when you get the baseball bat with the spikes in it, bro, and start smacking people around with that. And then the other games, like the later games, they started adding more stuff like pepper spray and nunchucks, tasers. It was a cattle prod. Shock people off their motorcycles, dude.
Oh man.
That's a game they need to bring back, man, with modern HD like Road Rash on an Xbox One or a Series X would be like, that would be the most killer thing ever.
So
never really got into RPG games much. The only ones I really liked was like Chrono Trigger and like Mother 2, aka Earthbound, because Earthbound was just like super unique. I think one of the reasons I like Chrono Trigger is I don't know if you guys know this, but the art and
Oh, man.
story were worked on by Akira Toriyama, who was
Mm.
obviously the creator of Dragon
Mhm.
Ball, Dragon Ball
Yep.
Z. And there's a lot of themes that carry over story-wise, and I think that's one of the reasons it resonated with me. It felt really familiar in the right places while still being completely original everywhere else. You know, my teenage years when I got a Dreamcast, obviously more Sonic. That was kind of my thing. I was like a Sega fanboy up until Sega stopped making consoles.
Rip.
So Dreamcast, man, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Shuffle, Power Stone. Actually, one of my two of my favorite games on the Dreamcast were MDK2 and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Obviously, Goth Kid had to love that game. I don't know if you guys have ever played it, but you play as a vampire who gets executed for evolving faster than the head vampire, and you get revived by some elder god type dude, and you come back to get revenge and kind of restore the balance because vampires are taking over the realm of Nosgoth, and it's keeping souls from going into the Wheel of Fate and being reincarnated. And there's some very interesting things regarding evolution and all that of vampires, which actually had a huge influence on my novel. But I mean, it was just, you know, kind of like Doug the Dude's hairstyle too. I've kind of been wearing that for a while since I played that game. Everyone actually thinks the hair is supposed to be inspired by Ryu, but actually, real secret is that I got this hairstyle from playing Soul Reaver. And then the other one was Unreal Tournament. That's what got me into shooters, like first-person shooters.
Unreal Tournament.
Unreal Tournament.
Wow.
That was one of the first like online console games, man. 56K modems, dude. Oh. I don't. The sequels were all disappointing to me though, because they took one of my favorite guns out, and it's probably for the reason why it was my favorite gun. There was a gun in the first Unreal Tournament that shot like saw blade discs, and depending on what level you were on, which usually was on every level, it's called the Ripper, and you could actually bounce the discs. If you went to a narrow enough hallway, you could bounce the discs off the wall at head height, and just stay in one spot and just shoot them, bounce them off the wall, and you're eventually going to decapitate somebody.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I would get multi-kills on people and AI and everything, just staying in a hallway and shooting in both directions. So yeah, man. Then I got an Xbox and I was playing, you know, more Guilty Gear and Halo.
Guilty.
Love Halo.
During this whole quarantine stuff, I got an Xbox because me and my girlfriend are actually big on Halo, and I just got the Master Chief Collection and we just played them all. We just killed it.
Yeah, I got my stepdaughter into that. We played all the Halo games together so far, every single one of them.
Yep, you have to, even the bad ones like ODST and 4.
Actually,
and 5.
I actually really like the ODST. I mean, I think it got a lot more hate than it deserved. I think the real reason that a lot of people didn't like it was because it was supposed to be a DLC, and then they fleshed it out and expanded it and added some things and charged you like full price for it. And, like it's a whole nother game, even though it didn't have its own multiplayer other than Firefight. But
Firefight was cool though.
Firefight was super legit. That's actually the only two game types I like on Halo 5 are Warzone, Firefight, and SWAT.
I was playing Halo 5. I was playing a campaign on it. Since they don't have 2-player, we just took turns. So I was Master Chief, and I forgot who the other character was.
Yeah, they got rid of the couch co-op for that. Me and my stepdaughter didn't get to play that together until she got an Xbox like last year. So
it was so boring. I was sitting there, I'm playing it, I'm like half dead doing it. I'm like, this is the most bored I've ever played. I'll play a video game.
Well, they did that, I think, to sell more units of the console. So yeah, that's what we did there. Borderlands. I played Borderlands. got her into that
Borderlands.
too. Me and her
Mhm.
played the first two together.
Played a
Overwatch,
pre-sequel.
I play that. Also
Wanna
been
play
playing a
Apex?
lot of retro games lately. I got the Mega Man Legacy collections and the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, those games too.
What's your favorite
Um,
Castlevania game?
Oof, that is a good question. That is a hard question. Um, I think the first one I ever actually played and beat was Harmony of Dissonance on Game Boy Advance.
hmm
I think that's still probably my all-time favorite one. Um,
I like Rondo of Blood. It's a
yeah,
good
that
soundtrack.
one's a trip. I think that was kind of the thing that got me into it more. Metroidvania style ones that followed Symphony of the Night, like Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow.
Mhm.
So, yeah, in fact, that's actually one of the things I jam to when I'm getting ready for to go train, or like when I'm on the way to train. Is I have like 3 different covers of music from Castlevania, and one of them I found on YouTube. It's called Bloody Tears, and it's by some Japanese musicians, and I love it. In fact, I actually have a chapter in my novel with Dracula in it, and during that fight, that was what was playing while I was writing it, and in my head when I wasn't listening to music while writing it.
Wow.
Because I love the cover so much. It really gets me pumped. Really gets me pumped. I'm actually surprised that wasn't on your list. What music do I listen to, especially when I'm trying to
It
train?
was
or
gonna
get
be
ready?
brought up.
Yeah.
It was
So,
gonna have to be brought up.
Yeah, you
I primarily
mentioned-
listen to metal and like goth rock.
What kind of
A
metal?
lot of metal for training, especially like video game music that's like metal versioned out.
Shoot me your top 5 favorite bands right now. Go. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Dimmu Borgir, Typo Negative,
Typo Negative.
Sisters Mercy,
Mm-hmm.
Guar.
Guar.
We can't sleep on Guar.
Bro, I went to see Guar in 2007 and I was purple for 3 days.
Dude, we have a friend. He was like blue for a whole like 2 days. Brandon.
Oh, I couldn't get the stuff out from around my fingernails for like 2 weeks. I had to wear gloves at work for 2
He
weeks.
came to
because of it.
school and he was blue.
Yeah, our friend Brandon was a Smurf for a couple
Somewhere, and
days.
I don't know what happened to it when I moved back in here, but somewhere I actually have a promo poster from that concert that was signed by Odorous.
Wow.
Yo,
And I really need to find that because that thing is worth some money now.
Oh, I bet. You only give me
Rest in
4.
peace, Odorous.
Last one.
Rest in
Give me
peace.
4. Last one. Number
I
5
only
was
give you
taking
4.
the spot. You only give me 4. Send me one more.
Oh no, mas.
Slayer.
Slayer.
Did I say Slayer yet?
Nope, you did not. And I'll take Slayer.
Dude, Slayer has some of the meanest guitar solos ever, bro.
Yeah.
I remember I used to play him on Guitar Hero.
Dude, I used to make
World
AMVs.
Tour.
I did an Angel of Death AMV
that's what it
with Dragon
was.
Ball Z just for one thing. Just because I wanted to do one thing with it. And it was take the clip of Gohan fighting Frieza where he's like flying in the air and just like kicking him. And I synced that up with that double bass drum solo.
Wow.
Dude.
Are those
That's
AMVs
That's
up?
actually still up on my YouTube channel.
Oh, I gotta look at
They are
these.
If you guys ever
I
want
want
to check
to
that
look
out,
at
like
these.
the first 4 or 5 things I uploaded after uploading a couple tournaments was like some of the AMVs I made in like high school and culinary school, just in my free time.
That's Andy right there.
I'm not proud of my AMVs. I deleted them.
I mean, I'm not saying my AMVs were masterpieces, especially not compared to today's standards. I mean, they're definitely early 2000s, like super rough. Like I did one to Asha by Rammstein with Rurouni Kenshin clips, and the only ones I could find were subtitled. So I made this whole AMV, and there's subtitles, man, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it sucks having to do lip sync AMVs with subtitles on them, but you just kind of have to ignore the subtitles, man.
Yeah.
Sadly, we are getting out of time.
Time.
Before we go, do you want to say anything in relations to kind of anything, more or less your fight?
No, I mean I'll tell you right now. Like I said, we've been doing round training for that, and I'm talking like twice a day after doing regular jiu-jitsu class on top of it. And even after a week of doing that, I still physically feel better than I did when I did that fight. So I'm still not as fatigued. So I know I'm gonna do
That's
way
right.
better.
You
The
have
real
faith in you,
Shinigami,
dude.
the real Shinigami is gonna show up. That
That's
was
right.
that
The
for
head
some
kicking
reason, man.
master.
All that fatigue dropped my skill back to like yellow belt, man. I looked like a yellow belt out there. And I mean, aside from the kicks, I mean, the timing was off, but them kicks were those were some good hard kicks I was throwing, and
You're never gonna lose those.
I'm still like the biggest thing that irks me was that spinning heel kick I threw off of after that roundhouse when he was in the corner. I came so close. If I would have landed that would have ended it. And I was so close. That kick came so close, and it was surreal because I felt the sand fly off my foot, bounce off of his face, and hit my leg. That's how close it was.
So
And I was just like, ugh. But yeah, man, I'm
Before we
looking
go-
forward to it. I'm looking forward to giving Streetbender the fight he deserved the first time.
that's right.
You know, like I
I
said,
have
it's not
faith in you.
about beating people up. You know, it's about skills and testing yourself, and even your opponent. You know, yes, that's what his thing is. He really wants to test himself against my actual skills, which he's gonna get this time. You know, no cap.
So
I
do
got-
you have any? He said no cap.
No
That's
cap,
awesome.
he's gonna get it.
No cap. That's right. You used the New York slang.
New York.
You know what, dude? I found that out. You know how much slang I get off the internet and have since high school, man? Like,
I bet.
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm
We're all
always
from
been
New
ahead of the
York, so,
curve,
like,
man. I
that-
liked
that kinda
anime
made-
before it was
made
cool.
me
I used to
laugh.
get beat up for watching anime when I was a teenager because
Yeah.
cartoons are for little kids. I guarantee you those same jackasses who used to pick on me for watching anime are probably walking around wearing a One Piece shirt. Or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Same thing with
Video
video
games
games.
and anime are getting like
Oh yeah, dude.
The
how do I
clout
say
they
it,
fucking
normalized or
deserve.
Yeah, it's become
oh my
popularized.
god.
I think I got a little lucky with the video game thing because where I live, there's nothing to do. So
Yeah, man.
almost everybody I knew had video games because there was nothing out here to do. You know, even to this day, it's still pretty much karate class or nothing in Lake LA. There's really not a lot of activity.
Yeah.
Man.
You know, I mean, there's some other park activities too, like basketball and stuff. But there for my entire childhood, there was really nothing for the youth to do. That's why a lot of the kids out here got in a lot of trouble, got into drugs. We had a lot of teen pregnancies out here when I was growing up. I avoided all that stuff. I've never really done any drugs at all. I mean, obviously, I tried weed a couple times in culinary school.
Who hasn't?
But I never saw the appeal of doing all that stuff, and even trying that, I actually found out I was allergic to that stuff. That shit almost killed me.
Bueno.
Okay.
Oh man.
Oh shit. But do you have any words you want to give to your fans?
Yeah, man, appreciate everybody's support. I never expected to blow up like this at all. Like I said, I've said several times, I didn't expect to even get noticed for 4 or 5 fights at least before started having people notice me. And I get a lot of positive messages and comments on videos and on Instagram and everything. And I really appreciate the support. It's really nice to have. So thanks everybody for supporting me, even if it's just those positive, kind words, the follows, the subscriptions to my YouTube channel, even if that's as far as it goes, and just watching my fights and everything. It means a lot. It's nice to have support. I've actually gone through life with a lot of lack of support for things I've tried to do. Very few people, especially my own family, a lot of family members just weren't having it, No faith in me for becoming a martial arts competitor, like professionally at any point, or doing full contact or anything like that, making a career out of it,
And then one final thing before you go, man. You want to shoot a promo code for your merch?
I actually
That'd
don't
be
have
only-
one. I don't have one right now.
Oh, man.
I actually just did one for Black Friday. I'm gonna do
Yep.
another one for Christmas.
You want to shoot one just for the podcast, so people don't listen to only people that listen to the podcast will have the promo code.
You know what? I'll have to go make one, but
It's a big ask.
see,
You don't have to.
I don't know, man. What do you guys think it should be?
I think. We'll let Richard decide. Richard, you decide.
I was gonna say weird anal, but that might be a little bit too weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Just anal.
No, which is so weird.
It's just anal.
You know what? I'll see if I can do it. Hold on. You know what? While I'm still up here, while we're all still here, let me see what I can do because I got Teespring up in another tab already.
Promo
So
code anal.
let me see if I can make that code real quick. And only for you guys, and only because I got a sense of humor.
That's awesome, man. We really do appreciate that. We're actually really nervous, especially when we did the name change. This is actually after we heard from you that you're going to be on the podcast, and we kind of realized when we changed the name, we're like, oh no.
So good, dude.
Okay. Analytics, tools and services, promotions.
If you have
Let's
to,
see. I'm gonna make.
put the A, the first A is like the @ symbol.
Nah, just
It has to be alphanumeric. I can't put special
Anal.
symbols.
Straight anal.
Let's do 30% off.
30%
Oh,
off.
we're killing it.
30% off just for the podcast
listeners.
viewers. Okay, we're gonna do 30% anal.
Oh,
Let me see if we'll do it. And I'm gonna make it expire.
The day of the fight.
No, you know what? We're gonna do Christmas Eve.
Christmas.
You
Killing
guys.
it.
There you go.
Christmas Eve.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna see if it's enough characters. There it is, bro. There it is, boys.
Yes. Yes.
There it is.
All
30%
capital?
off. Use code anal at checkout.
Use code anal.
I can
30%
finally die and know that I die easy and
Yeah.
Like I
I
said,
feel
just because you
complete.
guys are awesome, and this is the first podcast I've been on, and holy crap. Wow, people have been buying this weekend. What the?
They're gonna
All
buy
right.
even
So,
more.
man, you about to have another order in a minute. I need a new
Yeah,
workout
well,
shirt.
yeah. I've made 11 sales since like in like a month.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Or no, I think that's total. But even still, dude, that's wow. I've made almost double what I had before I went to do the last fight.
That's
that's
what's
cool,
up.
man.
That's fucking
So-
awesome, dude.
Yeah, man, and appreciate you guys too, because that's the other thing. This helps with exposure
Mhm.
for my products. So
Yep.
yeah, man, I got a whole line of stuff too, man. It's not just t-shirts and hoodies anymore. I got mugs with my official logo on them. I got posters. I got throw pillows because why not?
Oh yeah.
I was like, you know what? I know it's like the least like manly thing ever, but it's that's the joke.
Dude,
That's
I'm
the
gonna have
joke. Get
I'm
your
gonna have
girl a Shinigami throw pillow. Your girl wants you to have a throw pillow on the couch. Get one
I'm
with
buying
that
one.
thick
I'm buying
Shinigami
one.
logo on it. Because there you
It's
go. At least
over.
it looks kind of manly.
Dude, I would want a Shinigami body pillow, my guy.
Yes, 100%.
Oh my!
I want to
Wow.
call the Shinigami. tonight.
Well, I can't make those on Teespring. In fact, I'm trying to find a way to get some headbands made with my logo on them.
Mm.
Because I think some official Shinigami headbands would sell like hotcakes. I think a lot of people
Dude,
would want one of these.
Dude, I'd buy one.
Hell yeah.
He said, I want to have a Shinigami body
Body
pillow.
I know my girlfriend would buy one for when I ain't over there.
I would buy one. I want to cuddle with Shinigami.
One does not cuddle with Shinigami. One struggles with Shinigami.
Struggle stuck.
You get the blue belt. You get the blue belt cuddles, and those ain't nice.
Dangerous
How
blue
many
belt
naked children
mentality.
It comes with like extendable arms and
Right?
It's like the wacky inflatable tube, man.
Oh man.
For
that's
sure,
fucking
guys.
Awesome. All right, man. But thank you
Alrighty.
so much for coming on, dude.
Yeah.
You're an inspiration to a lot of people. You're gonna blow up big. Good luck on your next fight, man.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
Thanks, man, and thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, man. Thanks so much
I
for
mean, if
having
you
me.
ever want to
Really
come back
appreciate it.
on, you know where to find me. You know. Where
Oh
to hit
yeah,
me
dude.
up.
I'd love to be back. I would love to be back. For sure, dude. We'll talk about that.
Off,
You know,
off air.
off air. Yeah.
Oh, fair. All right. Well, this
All right,
has
guys,
been the
thank you
first.
for,
This has been
yeah.
the first official episode of Weird Anal. The last one was a pilot, and yeah, we didn't expect to get Shinigami. We thought Cameron was capping, but here we are. And we greatly appreciate that. So thank you again, Shinigami. Uh, from our host, Cameron, Richard, and myself, Andy. Well, we are out. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Got me out.